Guys, so welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to go over are cloud engineers taking away network engineering jobs? So I get this question quite a bit. A lot of people think that because of the advent of cloud, that is going to take away network engineering positions, right? So let's first bring it back to before cloud ever existed. Before cloud ever existed, every single corporation, company, organization, government, and where they store their data and their servers used to be what is known as on-prem. On-prem basically means that the data was stored at their physical site, usually their offices, right? And you'd have network engineers there who would maintain that. And ever since some time, that's always been the way, right? And then back when companies got super big, like Google and Apple and Microsoft and Amazon, these companies got really big, and they had their own data centers, right, on their sites. But then they got big to where they have to have multiple data centers in multiple locations, right? And then they realized, like, hey, we have all these data centers. I'm pretty sure people may want to lease them out for temporary use, right? Because we have the leverage, because we have all the equipment and we have the cash to pay for all these equipment. So let's see if companies would lease it out, and where it's a lower cost but a monthly payment. And companies jumped on that. It was a huge win for multiple companies. But without cloud, a lot of smaller companies wouldn't be able to function, right? A lot of these brick and mortar stores, a lot of these websites need the cloud for it to function, because now you can just expense that out to a company who will handle the security, who will handle the network, who will handle the everything in between to get the data moving, right? They'll handle everything for you. And that's kind of when cloud really took off, right? I don't know exactly when it took off, but it really got popular in the 2010s. And even before the 2010s, it was kind of getting popular then. But around that time, that's when it got popular. And a big scare for network engineers was, I think our jobs are going to go away. We have to learn cloud. We have to learn cloud. Our jobs are going to go away, right? And a lot of people got scared, and they decided not to pursue networking, which was pretty sad, because there was less network engineers. And to this day, there's still not that many people who want to get into networking. But there's always benefits to that. Job market's still pretty good for networking as opposed to other fields. But the big thing really was that people were afraid that networking is going to become obsolete. That's the big fear, right? Obsolete, right? And here's the thing. If you're scared of your field becoming obsolete, right, because of some technology that's going to happen, then that's a fear to have, and you can do whatever you want with that fear. But my stake is, like, if we need network engineers now, they're probably going to need network engineers in the future, right? I haven't seen it to where they're just going to cut jobs immediately in a short period of times because of the cloud, right? That's just people who don't understand how it works, and really jokes on those people, because the funny thing is, you have the cloud, right? The cloud is basically what was on-prem. Instead of it being on-prem, now it's at a separate location away from the on-prem location, right? So that company that would hire network engineers on-prem no longer needs to hire network engineers on-prem to do the networking. Now, all that networking is going to be at a physical data center somewhere else, right? And who's going to manage the data center, right? That's going to be network engineers, right? So really, the only difference is where network engineers work. Instead of working at on-prem at ABC Corporation, they're doing everything at the physical data center, right? So that's really the difference. Data center networking is huge, right? It requires high redundancy. It requires multiple switches, top-of-rack switches, routers. It requires you to understand routing protocols. There's a bunch of servers in there. There's a bunch of LACP, a bunch of port channels and bundles that need to be configured. And it's no different than networking, right? There's multiple different topologies within the data center environment, and network engineers are going to be able to maintain that sort of topology network environment. So the fear of, like, network engineering going away because of cloud is really a nonsensical claim. And it's been proven that it hasn't gone away, right? The only difference is where you work as a network engineer will be moved, right? But that's just for one part of networking, right? Because multiple offices and buildings may still need network engineers to maintain their LAN, their local area network, right? Because most of the data center stuff is mostly WAN stuff, right? But now when it comes to local area network, like the switches that you have in your office building, right? Your access points, right? Your radio frequencies to connect to Wi-Fi, your wireless controllers, you're gonna have to have routers that connect to your, ISP. Within that environment, you definitely are still gonna need network engineers to maintain that, right? Hospitals, airports, schools, those types of places have multiple network engineers that need to maintain maintain that infrastructure, right? So just because it's going away in terms of the on-prem data centers, those on-prem data centers are just going to go to Amazon or Facebook or whoever has the data centers they need to be able to leverage, right? So that's really different. So the fear of, oh, my job is going away. Is it going away? Are we cooked? I mean, I get this fear all the time. You see on the comment section, everyone saying, yeah, networking is dead. So, I mean, people can have that claim, right? And a claim is a claim, right? But from my personal anecdotal evidence, and as well as the people that I've helped, they've had no issue getting into networking and maintaining their job. And in terms of layoffs, right? I've been in the round of layoffs back in 2023, right? And in that time period, there wasn't that many network engineers that got laid off, right? It was mostly software, data analytics people, because like we know, networking is a fundamental aspect within tech. You guys are watching this video as we speak on YouTube, and without, the fiber optic cables that hit my ISP, that end up going to you wherever you're at, where, I don't want to talk about how it gets there, but whatever, it gets there. That's because of networking, right? At the end of the day, there's a lot that goes on in between. As a network engineer, we talk with system engineers, we talk with people on site as well. There's multiple different parties that we work with. So that's just what's going on in the market. I don't see it going away anytime soon at all, right? And I don't here's the thing. Fear mongering is just fear mongering, right? If you're gonna be afraid, like what's the other option? Are you just going to do something else that someone convinces you that is not as scary, or it's not going to be obsolete anytime soon? Is that the other option, right? It's kind of confusing when I speak with folks who are afraid of jumping into a field, and then they're like, oh, it's going to be obsolete in 3 years, right? And then they just say, oh, it's done. I'm not gonna get into it. So that's just my take, right? It's still thriving, it's still growing, it's still gonna be of its importance, right? Networking. And unless there's some groundbreaking technology that doesn't require fiber optical cables, routers, switches, and firewalls, and it doesn't require any hardware, which no one has invented anything like that. I don't see it coming anytime soon. But if there's an invention where I can literally just communicate directly from me to you using just radio frequency only, even if you're talking about satellite with Starlink, there still has to be routing involved in that, right? There's satellite routing that has to be involved. But anyways, the thing is, I don't see it going anytime soon. Right, we work in hardware. Hardware takes a while for it to change. It's not like software where things are constantly changing. But still remember, your skills have to be constantly updated. That doesn't mean you guys can just start chilling. You know what I'm saying? Still learn cloud, right? It's a groundbreaking technology. I would definitely look into getting some experience in that field. Maybe play around with AWS, play around with some cloud, GCP, and just to see what it's like, right? And who knows, maybe you can jump into and become a cloud engineer, because cloud engineers do actually get paid more than network engineers. So maybe if you're a network engineer salary and you want to get that bump in salary, maybe go into cloud, right? Because those skills that you learn from networking are going to transfer over into the cloud very seamlessly in a way where you're going to be highly valued. And a lot of the stuff that cloud engineers really struggle on is the networking part, right? I speak with cloud engineers all the time, and a lot of the cloud engineers always tell me I don't even know what the subnet is. I need help with the subnet. What's this VLAN thing? And maybe you as a network engineer can come in and bring that guidance and support to those cloud engineers, right? So like I said, there's a lot of opportunity in 2025, especially for networking. So use the skills that you've learned and keep growing within it. So don't let this be a way to keep yourself stagnated. I don't believe in stagnation. Stagnation is the killer, right? As long as you're moving and improving your skills, you're going to be fine at the end of the day. So that's all I want to say. I want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys need help on becoming a network engineer, there's a mentorship link down below where you can click the link and see if I can help you become a network engineer. With that being said, everyone, I really, really do appreciate your time. If you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys want to subscribe and see more of these types of videos, click the subscribe button. If you guys are looking or confused about networking cloud, or networking jobs going away, go in the comment section and just type in with your thoughts on this. And thank you guys so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Peace.